So, hi everyone and welcome. I'm Dalia, your instructor for today's session, and I'm very excited to guide you through the world of AI-assisted writing with Sudowrite. Today's workshop is designed to give you a solid start with Sudowrite, and by the end of our time together, I hope that you'll have all the knowledge and confidence you need to dive right in and start writing. We'll go over how to set up projects, navigate the platform, and use essential tools like Rewrite, Describe, and Brainstorm to supercharge your writing process. If you're a writer who's curious about AI or simply looking for ways to make your writing process more efficient and fun, this session is perfect for you. No prior knowledge or experience with Sudowrite or AI tools is required. And we're starting here from scratch and we'll build up your expertise step by step. First, a short overview of what we will be covering today. We will start with this introduction and greeting that I hope will be kept rather short so that we have more time for our demonstration, where I will show you how to navigate the homepage and organize your projects, how you can customize your settings, how to manage projects and documents, and finally, we will take a look at Sudowrite's fundamental features. We'll wrap everything up with a Q&A session where you can ask any questions and get personalized tips to enhance your experience. But before we start, a few notes on the Zoom decorum. Please stay muted during the main session to avoid background noises. And if you want to speak up, raise your hand before speaking. And feel free to use the chat feature for questions. My lovely co-hosts, Thomas and Manon, we keep an eye on the chat to make sure we address your questions. So now let's begin our journey into Sudowrite. Yep. So let's first get an overview of the homepage when you first log in. This is like the landing page when you start, and here with a new button, you can create a new project, a new folder, or a series. You can use folders to organize your projects like I've done here. Since I'm teaching in English and German, I have one folder for my teaching projects in English and another one for teaching projects in German. But there's also another way with the series folders, which are specifically designed for book series. And I have to take a look. Yes, we have a series folder here that I will just show you so that you get an idea how it looks differently to a folder. Like this is just how every folder looks. And in a series folder, you can set the timeline for your books. Like in this case, the first book in the series is Fudge, Football, and Foul Play, and the second would be Legacy, Larceny, and Lingering Ghosts. And these projects have a shared, I just give you a little sneak peek. They have this little section of the story Bible that they have shared. That's characters, world building, and outlines. And in this way, the series folders help you to keep consistency within your series. But let's get back to our home. If you do not want to create a new project, since you already have something started, you can also use the import feature to import your whole novel. And in this way, the story Bible will already be populated with some information about your book. As you can see, the file types that are supported are text, doc, docx, RTF, and ODT. And you can use this for documents up to 120,000 words if you already have something. But for this demonstration, we want to assume that you start out with a completely new project. And we'll go into the Teaching English folder, click on New, and create our little project that we'll be working in today. Are there any questions so far about the overview?
No,
Or is everything
in the chat.
Nothing? Yeah, okay. But before we get into the weeds of the actual project, we'll take a little look up here at our settings. Since here you can customize a bit how Sudowrite looks for you. You can set a font. You can choose between 6 different fonts. And we also have open dyslexic if you have problems with dyslexia, so that it's easier for you to read. I usually use the Helvetica Neue because I like its clean look. You can also change the text size from very, very small to relatively big. I usually keep it somewhere. Yeah, I think this looks decent, at least on my big screen right now. You can also change the line spacing. Now, without the text in here, you won't be able to see the difference. But I think that 1.5 always looks kind of the cleanest. Another thing that's important is that you can set different themes. I like to work in the light theme like Sorbet, but a lot of people prefer dark themes. And you have, for example, Aurora Borealis as one option for this, or charcoal, cauldron, which I also like. I like the violet. And this is another of the light ones. You can just go through everything here and choose one. And while I was preparing, I noticed that we now have automatic dark mode as well. And I'd assume that this would change with the computer settings, but I prefer just to stick with Sorbet. Other settings you can make here is that you can decide whether you want to see word count up here. And if you want to have indented paragraphs or not. I prefer them not indented, so I toggle this off. Also in the settings, you can see how many credits you still have left in your plan. And since it's a question that I hear very often, I just would explain concisely what credits are. They're kind of the currency of Sudowrite that is used in this ecosystem to access the platform's AI features. Each plan has a set amount of credits you can use, and they are consumed based on the complexity of the tasks you perform and of the AI model that is used for this task. Since it depends both on the words written and also the words that are read by the AI. And while there are also some features that are free, like quick chat and quick edit, which we'll also cover today, most features require credits. And if you need to, you can also buy more credits. If you run, if the credits are gone, a lot of month is still left. And here you also find the trash. which may not be as intuitive if you don't know that it's in the settings. And if you go in there, right now there's nothing deleted. But let's just go and delete a project so that I can show you. It's here with this little dots, you can do stuff like export, duplicate, move, and also delete. And now our tutorial project is deleted. And you can go in here. And now you have the choice to restore it or to permanently delete it. If it's permanently deleted, it's gone.
Having seen in Hawaii this week where
what? Was there a question? I was just hearing someone.
No, sorry, it's an accident.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm always a bit paranoid of losing stuff, so I never permanently delete anything. But thankfully, you can also just restore it, and it's ta-da, back in on your front page. Any questions about the settings, or are we all good with this?
Everything is clear in the chat.
Awesome. Then we'll head back into our project. And as you can see here, the project page in Sudowrite is organized into 3 main columns. And I just noticed that I was showing it with my head, which is not helpful. But this left column is the navigation for the documents. Here you can add new documents or folders to organize documents. Or you can also import existing files. And I just closed this because there was stuff that should not be on the recording. And here you also have the possibility to rename, duplicate, or export the document. By default, they're untitled. And once you write something in here, it often comes up with its own title. In this left column, you also have the story Bible. We will dive a bit deeper into this later, but this is basically the place where all the knowledge about your book will be stored. And there's also the canvas, which is a bit more of a visual tool. And this is good if you like more visual planning. There used to be a tutorial in here, but it doesn't show off every time. But for example, you can have little cards like this if you like to plan a bit more visually. And now I zoomed out so far that I can't find my button to return anymore on this. Where is it?
Yeah, I think the little house is missing, so sometimes we have to use the back arrow.
Yeah, I was like, where is it? Yeah, let's go.
Oh, yeah, the house
Yeah, it's back. Yet sometimes the canvas doesn't get enough love from the team, since always other stuff has more, seems more urgent, which is a bit of a shame, since I think that the canvas would be a great way to plot more visually and plan more visually for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And now to the center column, which is basically your normal editing window, which works like most text editors. You have like little undo, redo buttons, stuff for formatting, find and replace, which is very useful. And this little here is the chapter generator, which is also something we get to later. You can if you ever notice that it's vanished, here is the way you get it back. And there's also document history, which right now is empty since we haven't done anything yet. In the middle is also, if you scroll down, and it's activated the story Bible. And here on the right side, you have the history column. Here you will find all the cards that the AI has generated. And you can also, if you have anything that is generated that you have favorited, you can click over and see it here. Once we have stuff generated, I will show you. There's also this little cards about join our community on Discord, which is something that I'd really, really advise you to do, since it's a great place to ask questions. If you're not already there, it's like there are a lot of helpful people, and if there's anything you need to know, it's usually a couple of minutes and someone will have an answer for you. You will also find the link to our live classes. And you can have, if you want to play around with something, you can start a little example project and get some text in here. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to start. He doesn't
Yeah,
ask you permission. Click on it,
it's
it's
a
gone.
very interesting text. I have no idea where that come from. The honor of being eaten. How did it feel to be eaten? I was an elderberry. Okay. Anyway, now we have a text in here, and you can also see, as I said before, like how the sizes change and with the differences in spacing. Yeah. I always forget that this is the example text, and I have to ask our developers why they chose this text. But anyway, are there any questions so far?
Yes, there is a question because you're already in that screen. Do you mind to explain the difference between the import, which is from the home page, and the import, which is in the project?
Yes, that's a question that comes up quite often.
Yeah.
This import here, now I'm back in stuff that, whatever. This is just for usual documents. They are not, do I have anything that I could actually import? Nah, not really. But anyway, for like single documents, they are not touched upon by the AI at all. They're just being imported into this. I just take this one into the, let's go. They're just being added here. And it's, you may hear it, I'm German, so my texts are in German, and it sometimes doesn't like German letters. Anyway, so this will just have taken the whole text and put it into one document, and that is all it did. If you import the same text from here, let's just take it and see what it does. It will start a new project and will start to import the text by reading it actually with AI. And it will analyze the story. And oh, sorry. I just noticed. Sadly, it is too long, this book that I wanted to import. But in general, it would create a new project and then import the text in here, but it would also fill in genre, style, synopsis, characters, world building, and outline for you. And if it's a story that's unfinished, it will also suggest an ending in the outline, which is pretty neat.
Yeah.
Way to do.
Can you show if you use any credit doing it?
It shouldn't have used any credits. I'm not. Oh, yes, but that's a good point, since I totally forgot to show you the recent activity thing here. If you ever wonder what the stuff you're doing has costed you, here you'll find it. And oftentimes stuff that's free, like the import feature is currently free for you. It sometimes doesn't show up here. But here you can see the last 10 or so operations you have made. Okay, any further questions?
No, I think
Not at
right
all?
now
No. Okay, then. Then I'll just show you the delete feature. Yeah, I'm sure this can go to trash. So now that we have this little text here, we can just go ahead and take a look at the toolbar features here above. These are some of the fundamental features in Sudowrite and the ones that I use the most in my writing. Write, as the name suggests, is like autocomplete plus magic. I think that's a very good summary. It looks at the text that has already been written, and depending on the setting you choose, it would either just come up with its own ideas, or with guided write, you can give it instructions. With tone shift, you can tell it that it should go from I have no idea what the tone of this just is. Let's just say we want to turn this romantic. You can give it this hint, and with right settings, we can tell it how like creative it should be. While creative here means how well it follows instructions and how like now I can't think of the right word. Predictable, how predictable the outcome is. Most gives you the most unpredictable and creative answers. But if you have a good idea where you want to go with your story, it's often better to stay with least or maybe 25% in. You can also choose how many variations you want to generate, how long those cards are supposed to be, from 50 words to 500 words, which is very approximately, since AI is bad at counting words. So the result may vary. Here you can choose a prose mode, and prose mode is, you can have whole sessions just about the different modes that are available. And sometimes John Creason makes sessions like this, which is always a lot of fun. But if you're starting out, just stick with one of the top three. Which one you choose is a bit of your personal preference. You always have like little samples of the text it produces. And this gives you an idea how many credits it uses. Premium gives the best quality, in the opinion of a lot of people, but it's also hella expensive. Like, you generate a few cards and you may have spent all of your monthly credits on this alone. Excellent is still very good, and it's my favorite choice. It's not particularly cheap, but it follows instructions quite well and has a high quality of prose. If you're just starting out and experimenting, I would suggest you stick with basic for the time. The quality is also quite good and it's really cheap. So especially in your first month, you will likely just burn through your credits very, very fast, just learning how to move around the website, how everything works. And in that case, it's a good suggestion just to keep with basic, since it's really good quality for the price. And you will have the most use out of it. And then you also have the possibility to give it some details about your story in here in the right settings. And if you want to use write, you just put it at the end of the text, click it, and it will show up here. And it's, you saw with the little pop-up, this now was 34 credits. My goodness. I was wave endless and eternal, crashing against the sandy shores of a secluded beach. I mean, it's a bit wild, but fitting with the text it had to work with. So yeah. The sun painted gold hues across the water, yada, yada, yada. And now that you have this little card, you can either insert it completely, then it just goes there. And as every AI text in Sudowrite, it's at first it's purple. And the moment you edit something, it turns black so that you know that you have touched upon this little snippet of text. Another option is to copy it if you want to put it somewhere else. You also have the option to thumb it up and down if the quality was exceptional or if it was really bad. That way the team knows whether there are any issues with a particular model. If, for example, they get hundreds of thumbs down for basic, they will take a look if there's something going wrong around under the hood. And here's the little icon so that you can put it here into your favorites.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you mind to tell them how much word is being read by the AI model when they use the right button?
That depends on the AI model you're using. In general, with some of the older models, it was always said that it reads at least 1,000 words. I mean, obviously this only has 300, so it's reading 300 words, but if possible, at least reads at least 1,000. But with the newer models, it can go up to 20,000 words. So if you have a huge document, and since reading the text also costs credits, that can get a lot more expensive than in the beginning here. But it also helps the AI to understand your text and to emulate your style if it has a lot of stuff to read before it. And I think with all the, yes, all this is standard prose modes should read back roughly 20,000 words. There are few of the advanced that have a shorter window for reading. Okay. Are there any more questions?
No, they're more in the advanced area, so I'm trying to take care of that one. But when you get there, we'll pressure to make sure that you understand that part. Keep going.
Okay, keep going. So let's see. The next button here is our rewrite button. This thing is good for revisions, and you can highlight a text and have it rewritten as rewrites, as the name suggests. Here you can choose how many variations you want to have. 3 is, I like 3 as a number. And then you can highlight the text, click on rewrite either here or on this little selection menu that's also pops up sometimes. And you can here click it, and here you can choose how the text should be rewritten. There are some presettings that you can choose from, but you can also customize it if you have an idea how this should be changed. In this case, I would make it a bit more intense. Yeah. Oh my goodness. How did it feel to be devoured by the fangs of a cruel bird? Yeah, that's definitely very, very intense. I declared with a self-righteous tone I was an elderberry. Yeah. And as you can, I hope it's good to see on the recording that parts of this are in purple and other parts are black. The purple parts are the parts that have been changed by the AI, so that you get an idea how much of the text has actually been rewritten. And if you now go and insert this, let's go with this one because I love the part with the fangs of a cruel bird. That's just hilarious. It will just replace the text that was there before. And as I'd explained, once you change something within the text, it will go to black. Bitter truth. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is a very hilarious text. Anyway, the next button here is describe, which is used for descriptions, and you can toggle on which of the 5 senses you want to have featured in the description, and if you also want to have a metaphor. And I just take this part and you can go with describe, and you'll get a few variations for how you could add some descriptions in this text. The scent of anger and malice emanated from the man's pores, filling the air with a bitter tang. I always think that the metaphors are quite fun. His words slithered through the air like a serpent ready to strike. His tone is cold and sharp as the fangs of the predator. And as before, you can copy stuff or insert stuff and rework your text how you like it. But are there any questions about the first 3 buttons? Just have to, since I'm teaching this class for the first time, I have to keep an eye on the clock so that we get through everything, because there's a lot.
Can you explain when the credit do renew?
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Credits always renew on the day of your initial, like when the day of your initial purchase comes around again, like monthly. And you also have to keep an eye, like you can see here. I sadly can't move my mouth or the advantage again, but you can see it said that 99,000 something credits expire on January 18 with the time, since the credits on the lower plans don't roll over. So you have to make sure that you use them up before they expire. The only plan with rollover is the max plan. In that case, the credits would roll over for 12 months, I think, before they eventually would expire. And if you buy any additional credits, they don't expire anymore. And the credits from your monthly plan are used before credits from your purchases are used. And since the question also comes up sometimes in this context, there are no free plans with Sudowrite. So if you're through with your trial, those credits will never, you will have to get a subscription. Either, like we have the different plans, I think, like between hobby, student, professional, or max plan. I hope this answered the question. Now I have to find my way back. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
No, carry on.
No. Perfect. The next little button here is our brainstorm button. With this feature, you can brainstorm basically anything. Here you have some suggestions. I'm not sure if this likely would need to be updated since we don't have tweets anymore. But you can come up with whatever you like. Now I don't have an idea handy what we could brainstorm, so concepts or cozy mystery. That's not how you write mystery, is it? Yes. Ah, thankfully, AI is also bad. It's very good at just figuring out what people mean, even if they're typos. Like, what's that? You can also give examples of how you would like this to sound. No, this is not the right. I don't know. And then you can just go with start. Think about our little brainstorm and give you some ideas. A cozy bed and breakfast nestled in the woods where guests can enjoy homemade apple pie and warm tea by the fireplace. A quaint bed and breakfast within. Oh yeah, I like this concept. And if you vote something up, it ends up here. And if you vote it down, it just vanishes. And I probably misspelled mystery so badly that it doesn't know what I actually want. But But you can also, yeah, I think you can edit this cozy crime novel and can regenerate. A family-owned lobster shack where a wealthy vacationer from out of town is found poisoned after feuding with the locals over ownership of the beach. And you can just go like this. Oh, creepy legends surrounding a lighthouse. And like this, you can save cards. And you can also edit those cards or delete them. If you save and exit, they also show up at this history corner. Any questions about?
Chat's clear.
Awesome. I just remembered that I actually prepared a little document for you. And I just post the link in the chat where you can read up with some of the things that I also have linked documents with more information about brainstorming in Sudowrite, since a lot of the features in Sudowrite, yeah, there's so much you could show that you can have its own class about it. Like I'm teaching a class that's a whole hour just about the right button, for example, or about brainstorming, since there's so much that you could say about it, since this program got so complex and big and powerful over the last, yeah, almost 2 years of me using it. And I think I hope this is the right document. But if there are no more questions right now, we can just dive in further. Aside from the buttons, I also showed you, you've seen this before, is this little selection menu that shows up and is a bit of a quite handy tool with some of the most useful features here for quick access. And here you'll also find the expand feature, which takes a passage of text and makes it longer by adding in details and filling in gaps in the narrative. Like as you can see here, it makes it a lot longer. Well, thanks. That's the version we had before. And another interesting little thing you can use is here this related words. If you're looking for, it's like a little thesaurus that you can use on all parts of it. If you just want to find a better word for something. Just and something else that is also a nice tool is this little visualize. This generates a picture of the selected text.
During visualize is going,
Yes.
That's a good question. I never stopped thinking about it. Is the currency of the credits, which currency they use? Are they using your credit in Germany and different one, or are they all on the US
It's
credit?
always US dollar. At least what's shown here. I'm not entirely sure if I go to billing, they would give me. I'm not sure if my credit card shows up if I go to billing, so I'm not going to billing right now.
Yeah, don't go to billing, it's going to show your
But
credit card.
it's always
So,
showing the prices in US dollar.
thank you.
Yeah. At least I haven't noticed that it's anyway doing that differently. Oh, and also something that's interesting, if you go for a yearly plan, you can save quite some money. But if you're just trying out, I would advise just start with a monthly before you just commit for a whole year. You can always change your plan afterwards. Okay. Ah, yeah. Let's see what it came up with, which looks very scary. What the hell?
What did you get inside that description?
Oh, Jesus. The text was here. The man's response caught me off guard, his voice low and chilling as he asked, how did it feel to be devoured by the fangs of a cruel world? That's just, I mean,
It's an interesting picture.
yeah, that's the cap for horror novel, maybe. But you can also use this, for example, if you have a character that you want to see, like a picture of them. Like if you want to see if your description is actually interpreted the way that you intended to, that's a good way to test it, depending what you get out of it. But this is nightmare fuel. So I'm just going to scroll down so that we do not have to see this. You can also delete cards if you do not want to have this show up in your history. Why creepy image? These are actually really gone once you've deleted them. There's no way to get them back. But I won't be missing this image. Definitely not. Now we went through most of the features up here. The next little button here is the plugins menu. Plugins are custom features that are meant to expand the platform's capabilities. And it's similar to like browser extensions that you may all use. You can basically create plugins for everything you want to do with the story. A lot of them are created by users, and you can also create your own. But there are also a few like Twist, Poem, Visualize, or Feedback that are default plugins for you to use. If you want to explore plugins, you can just head over here, and you have a whole world of, I'm not sure anymore how many plugins there are, a couple hundred, maybe in the thousands by now, for almost every problem that you can imagine. And if there's something you need and you don't find it in plugins, you can head over to Discord and go to the plugins channel and wish for a plugin. And sometimes someone with a magical wand will show up and it will magically appear. But let's go back. Since plugins, it's also a topic that you can spend hours on this, and there's a weekly plugin school every Monday. I'm not sure what time it is since it's always 10 p.m. my time, but I'm in Europe, so for the majority of you, it will likely be afternoon.
I think she's at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now.
That would actually be a really nice time if it were my time. But yeah, I never get to attend live since 10 p.m. is just too late for me, sadly. But they're very interesting classes. So let's see, we only have 10 minutes left. So I would like to ask you if there's something that you would like to hear a little more about right now, since, yeah, I could basically go on talking about various aspects of this for hours. But if you have something you really want to know more about, just go ahead and ask it.
It's very quiet.
Yeah, we have a very quiet class today. But then I'll just go ahead with one of my favorite tools, which is this little quick edit, which gives you the ability to tell Sudowrite exactly how you want a section to be changed. For example, in this case, and it will just rewrite it directly in your document. And you have the possibility to accept it, to reject it, or to write up follow-up instructions like. Yeah. And the best part about this is that it doesn't cost any credits if you stay with the basic mode here. You can toggle on a higher quality mode, which uses credits, but I'm always very happy with what the basic mode gives me. You also have the possibility to chat here with your project, which is really great for brainstorming. And you can access this either through this selection menu or by Command K on Mac or Control K on Windows. And it will just show up. So you don't need to have something highlighted to use this. And it's a really great and powerful tool that, and due to the fact that it's, as you can see here, 0 credits at the end of the month when you're tight on credits you've still left, you can use this a lot to edit stuff or to brainstorm or work on your novel. And if there are still no questions in the chat, I just keep on talking.
Chat is still clear.
Thanks, Thomas. That's good. Then we just take a quick look at the story Bible. And this story Bible, as I've mentioned before, is like the heart piece of your of your novel. Here you can store all your core elements of your novel for yourself and for the AI to access. And you can use this for planning by starting out with ideas in the brain dump, giving it a genre, choosing a style. For beginners, I would suggest just picking one of the featured styles or going with match my style. And Tomas, you have raised your hand.
Oh yeah, I was just going to make a comment about Story Bible. Is a
Go ahead.
lot of people get frustrated because it only takes 2,000 words and they want to put a ton of stuff in there.
Yeah.
The thing about Story Bible is it really only influences synopsis. So there's no really point in having a bunch of stuff. If you're running beats and generations, it's not going to help that stuff at all.
Yeah, right. Like here in the brain dump, it's good for storing information in the initial planning phase, but after that, I mean, it says here down there that it affects beats, but I haven't really noticed that much. Although I have to admit, I don't use beats that much anyway. So maybe it does influence it a bit, but usually I just put all my initial brainstorming in there and then I never touch it again. And for the initial thoughts, I think 2,000 words are plenty. And anyway, if you have your idea in the brain dump, you have your genre. And here also, when you click into the box, you can see what other boxes are affected by this and how many words you can put in there. And for genre and style, you have only 40 words, but you can trick this a little bit. It's a bit advanced, but by just using hyphens. You shouldn't overdo it because you might also overwhelm the AI with too much information. But if you need to get 42 words in there, you just can use this little trick to make it a bit more concise. And in the synopsis box, if you have something in braindump genre, you can generate your synopsis, and based on this synopsis, you can generate characters, and world building elements, and finally an outline. But you can also, if you'd rather use your own stuff, you can just fill out, like here you can decide what your card should look like. Then you can add one and just manually fill it out if you rather create your characters on your own or you're bringing them already in. Same with world building. There are some preset card categories, but you can just make up your own. Like if you write a football romance, you can have your card for football teams or whatever you like. The same goes for the outline. You can generate an outline using different outline types, or you can, there was an import, I think. Yes, you can import your outline if you already have one, or you can just go and create chapter 1, fill this in, write the chapter, add chapter 2, and so on. This whole system is very flexible. And I hope that gave you a little overview because we're now on the top of the hour. And are there any questions in the chat left to address?
I have one. Some people have responded to it, but this is Mike. You said you don't use beats, which really confused me because isn't that how you get prose? Don't you have to generate beats first?
You don't have to. You can write the beats yourself if you like to. And that's
Sure.
also, but that's a good point you're bringing, because there are different ways you can work. You need beats if you use the chapter generator, because you have to put in beats in here.
Right.
But I'm more of a planner, like a discovery writer. So I usually don't use the chapter generator at all. And you work with the write button instead. And that's a bit more flexible. I usually have my what's it called? Chapter summaries. And I often generate beats. And I think the quality of the beats is quite good. There was recently an update, and I hardly have to touch them if I want to use them. But since I use them like with write, I'm not working as thoroughly with beats as other users of Sudowrite would be doing. Since for chapter generator, you have to tweak them a bit more in advance, I think. But maybe Manon and Thomas can say more about this, because yeah, I'm a bit of an outlier with my writing process. So yeah.
So you're the second teacher I've heard say something about not using beats. So how do that's what I don't understand. It seems like you're not using beats, you're writing them yourself, and then if you don't have beats, how do you generate prose? I guess you generate prose from what you yourself put in the chapter generator in the beats box, or you don't use a beat box at all.
I don't use this chapter generator at all usually. I just show it during class, and I really have to remind myself to do it, because it's not part of my usual process.
Yeah.
Since I just go in here, and I also had a class about this last week. If you're interested in the process, I can look up the links for this.
No, I'm not interested in that. I'm wondering what my question is. This is my first month in Sudowrite. Why users are not using beats for they're getting their outline, I guess, through Sudowrite, but once they get the outline, they abandon the Sudowrite process. Is that true?
No.
I know. Well,
You want to on that one?
Yeah, I would say that there's not one Sudowrite process. That's, I think, the main thing to say.
I understand. Everybody does differently, but
it's very
this
different.
is how this is how it's set up. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to figure it out, because is there an issue? You said recently beats gotten better. Someone else said that too, another teacher. So is there an issue with the beats going to the prose, I guess is the question.
It's not an issue.
No,
it's not an issue, because there's so many way of a workflow, and Dahlia is very advanced, and she's having a fantastic workflow that she's using when she writes in her novels. The problem is that the Sudowrite is so vast that trying to show you every single way to write the way you would like to write, it's almost impossible. You have to basically participate in like a 2 or 3 class every day to learn every way that we use Sudowrite.
Yeah, that's very true.
I'm not asking that. You're taking it you're taking it the wrong way.
No,
I'll retract. I retract my question.
No,
the beat is
it's hard to say.
Huh?
Yeah, and maybe maybe Thomas, do you have something to say? That's maybe capturing it more, because
no, I wouldn't have said anything different than Manon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because beats is fantastic to use them. They can be they can be generated through your outline, and they can give you the perfect beats that you go, and they're going to produce the prose. But everything I'm telling you right now, because you are new to Sudowrite, it's like a bit of Chinese, because we're not there yet. This is the basic class on how to navigate Sudowrite. And she hasn't even, did you produce any beats in there? I don't see any
Not
beats
yet.
yet.
Yeah, we have
was-
not really done anything in Story Bible yet.
Yeah.
So there are like whole classes about beats alone, I think, because
Yeah. Sorry, I
it's
asked the
just
question.
very
It was the wrong.
no, it's fine.
It
All
was the wrong
questions are
class.
welcome.
It was the wrong class. Ask it, and I'm sorry.
Wasn't the wrong class. It's just Dalia, you have the following class, right?
The following, I have
They
one
have
about Story Bible.
Yeah, and that's where you're
Yeah, I
going to
think that's one where we will look at beats a bit more thoroughly.
Yeah.
And also maybe in the right button class, you would see how you could write and generate prose without essentially using beats that much. Since, yeah, I think one reason why we have so many different classes right now, because there are so many ways you can use and approach Sudowrite for your writing, and every teacher uses it slightly different. So I think the best way is just to look at different classes and to emulate what everyone does and find out what's the right process that's working for you.
Thomas, you want to find the link in Discord for the classes that will help him with the beats, please? You're very good in Discord to get those links.
Yeah, just give me a second. You mean look up the old courses?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a second.
Thanks. So we're going to get the answer for you for the beats. You'll see all the classes that we have in Discord that will help you with the beats box and how to generate prose. And hopefully that will actually light up everything on that, because like I said, it's so many ways to use Sudowrite. You cannot pinpoint in one session.
Yes, that's very true. But thank you all for your thoughtful questions. It's always great to know what questions you have so that we know what we're supposed to be teaching. And if you have any further questions or need a refresher on anything we covered today, feel free to reach out, and I'll also encourage you to join the Sudowrite Discord server and start a discussion over there. It's a fantastic place to connect with other writers, to share tips and ask questions as you explore the platform. And you can find the link over here if you are looking for it. And I would also encourage you to take any more live classes on the areas that interest you. These sessions are a great way to build on what you've learned today and to explore Sudowrite's advanced features. And with this class coming to an end, I would like to thank you for being here. And we'd love to hear your thoughts about this workshop. Your feedback helps us to improve and continue offering sessions that meet your needs. So if you have a moment, please leave a rating and a review. Your input is really valuable and greatly appreciated. And a huge thank you to my co-hosts, Manon and Thomas, for their support today. Your help made everything run smoothly here, and I couldn't have done it without you. So thanks a lot. And of course, thank you all for bringing your curiosity and energy to this workshop. And it's been a pleasure to guide you through Sudowrite, and I can't wait to see you all in other courses and to learn how you're using Sudowrite in your writing journey. And I wish you a pleasant afternoon or evening or whatever time you're currently at, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and hope to see you in another class. Bye-bye.